attention to that man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
So I strongly suggest that you wake the f up.
You have to understand a little bit about the backstory. And the backstory is this. SOPA and PIP, as legislation, were drafted largely by media companies that were founded in the 20th century. The 20th century was a great time to be a media company because the thing you really had on your side was scarcity. If you were making a TV show, it didn't have to be better than all other TV shows ever made. It only had to be better than the 2 other shows that were on at the same time, which is a very low threshold of competitive difficulty, which meant that if you fielded average content, you got 1/3 of the US public for free. Tens of millions of users for simply doing something that wasn't too terrible. This is like having a license to print money and a barrel of free meat. But technology moved on, as technology is wont to do, and slowly, at the end of the 20th century, that scarcity started to get eroded. And I don't mean by digital technology, I mean by analog technology. Cassette tapes, video cassette recorders, even the humble Xerox machine created new opportunities for us to behave in ways that astonished the media business. Because it turned out we're not really couch potatoes. We don't really like to only consume. We do like to consume, but every time one of these new tools came along, it turned out we also like to produce and we like to share. And this freaked the media businesses out. It freaked them out every time. Jack Valenti, who was the head lobbyist for the Motion Picture Association of America, once licensed the ferocious video cassette recorder to Jack the Ripper and poor, helpless Hollywood to a woman at home alone. That was the level of rhetoric. And so the media industries begged, insisted, demanded that Congress do something. And Congress did something. By the early 90s, Congress passed the law that changed everything. And that law was called the Audio Home Recording Act of 1992. What the Audio Home Recording Act of 1992 said was, look, if people are taping stuff off the radio and then making mixtapes for their friends, that is not a crime. That's okay. Taping and remixing and sharing with your friends is okay. If you make lots and lots of high-quality copies and you sell them, that's not okay. But this taping business, fine, let it go. And they thought that they'd clarified the issue because they'd set out a clear distinction between legal and illegal copying. But that wasn't what the media businesses wanted. They had wanted Congress to outlaw copying, full stop. So when the Audio Home Recording Act of 1992 was passed, the media businesses gave up on the idea of legal versus illegal distinctions for copying because it was clear that if Congress was acting in their framework, they might actually increase the rights of citizens to participate in our own media environment. So they went for Plan B. It took them a while to formulate Plan B. Plan B appeared in its first full-blown form in 1998, something called the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It's a complicated piece of legislation, a lot of moving parts. But the main thrust of the DMCA was that it was legal to sell you uncopyable digital material. Except that there's no such thing as uncopyable digital material. It would be, as Ed Felton once famously said, like handing out water that wasn't wet. Bits are copyable. That's what computers do. That is a side effect of their ordinary operation. The DMCA marks the moment when the media industries gave up on the legal system of distinguishing between legal and illegal copying and simply tried to prevent copying through technical means. Now, the DMCA had and is continuing to have a lot of complicated effects, but in this one domain, limiting sharing, it has mostly not worked. And the main reason it hasn't worked is the internet has turned out to be far more popular and far more powerful than anyone imagined. The mixtape, the fanzine, that was nothing compared to what we're seeing now with the internet. We are in a world where most American citizens over the age of 12 share things with each other online. We share written things, we share images, we share audio, we share video. Some of the stuff we share is stuff we've made. Some of the stuff we share is stuff we've found. Some of the stuff we share is stuff we've made out of what we found. And all of it horrifies those industries. So PIPA and SOPA are round two. But where the DMCA was surgical, we want to go down into your computer, we want to go down into your television set, down into your game machine, and prevent it from doing what they said it would do at the store. PIPA and SOPA are nuclear. They're saying we want to go anywhere in the world and censor content. Now, the mechanism, as I said, for doing this is you need to take out anybody pointing to those IP addresses. You need to take them out of search engines. You need to take them out of online directories. You need to take them out of user lists. And because the biggest producers of content on the internet are not Google and Yahoo, they're us. We're the people getting policed. Because in the end, the real threat to the enactment of PIPA and SOPA is our ability to share things with one another. So what PIPA and SOPA risk doing is taking a centuries-old legal concept, innocent until proven guilty, and reversing it. Guilty until proven innocent. You can't share until you show us that you're not sharing something we don't like. Suddenly, the burden of proof for legal versus illegal falls affirmatively on us and on the services that might be offering us any new capabilities. And if it costs even a dime to police a user, that will crush a service with 100 million users. The real effects of SOPA and PIPA are going to be different than the proposed effects. The threat, in fact, is this inversion of the burden of proof, where we suddenly are all treated like thieves at every moment we're given the freedom to create, to produce, or to share. And the people who provide those capabilities to us, the YouTubes and Facebooks, the Twitters and Teds, are in the business of having to police us or being on the hook for contributory infringement. Get ready, because more is coming. SOPA is simply a reversion of COICA, which was proposed last year, which did not pass. And all of this goes back to the failure of the DMCA to disallow sharing as a technical means. And the DMCA goes back to the Audio Home Recording Act, which horrified those industries. Because the whole business of actually suggesting that someone is breaking the law and then gathering evidence and proving that, that turns out to be really inconvenient. Right? We'd prefer not to do that, says the content industry. And what they want is not to have to do that. They don't want legal distinctions between legal and illegal sharing. They just want the sharing to go away. PIPA and SOPA are not oddities. They're not anomalies. They're not events. They're the next turn of this particular screw, which has been going on 20 years now. And if we defeat these, as I hope we do, more is coming. Time Warner is called, and they want us all back on the couch just too soon. Not producing, not sharing. And we should say no. Thank you.
The way it's worded, it's pretty clear that its intent is to go after much more than just a site that's explicitly selling illegal pharmaceuticals or allowing people to download movies or video or movies or music that these owners don't have access to. When you read the wording, it's pretty clear that they want to be able to shut down anything that isn't in any way associating with itself or in any way enabling it, and you see it in the wording. So this is actually Section 103 of the SOPA legislation. And this is how they define a site that is dedicated to theft of U.S. property. So an internet site is dedicated to theft of U.S. property if, and so, it's usable by people in the United States. And then this is interesting. It's primarily designed or operated for the purpose of, has only limited purpose or use other than, or is marketed by its operator or another acting in concert with that operator for use in, offering goods or services in a manner that engages in, enables or facilitates. Now this is interesting. Enables or facilitates all of these violations. And these are the violations that would be, illegal. You're selling things that you can't sell. You're infringing on other people's copyrights. And it might seem harmless, this enables or facilitates, until you think about what that could encapsulate. If I have a site, I guess I am part of a site, Khan Academy. Let's say someone puts a message on Khan Academy, and from Khan Academy, they link to a site that actually is really illegal and that is really shady. They link to it in the message boards. Well, under this, am I enabling? Is Khan Academy enabling or facilitating? And if that's the case, then Khan Academy, by this definition, would be considered to be a site that is dedicated to theft of U.S. property. And there are much bigger players than just Khan Academy that can be thrown into this bucket. Players like YouTube or Vimeo or any site or even a news site that allows people to put comments or allows people to put images, things like Flickr, that maybe in some way the user is infringing on the copyright. Now all of a sudden the whole site, based on this definition, the entire site can be defined as a site dedicated to theft of U.S. property. By this definition, YouTube could be that if it's viewed in kind of enabling or facilitating. Khan Academy, any news site could be viewed like that way. Vimeo could be viewed that way. A photo sharing site could be viewed that. People might take a photo of something they don't have the copyright to and upload an image. And all of a sudden, by this definition, based on just a sense that that's being violated, they won't just be able to shut down these blatantly illegal sites. They will be able to shut down things like YouTube or Vimeo. They could take down the entire site, not just that content. And it gets even creepier than that, because to be considered this, you don't even just have to enable or facilitate, which is almost anything. One could argue even a computer is enabling or facilitating this on some level. But you are considered to be a site dedicated to theft of U.S. property, even if you do nothing illegal, even if you don't even enable anything illegal, but if you just take actions that make it difficult for authorities to confirm that you're doing something illegal. So if you view this in the physical world, obviously some people are doing illegal things in their homes. And obviously a lot of people lock their doors to keep people out of their homes. And maybe people doing illegal things are even more likely to lock their doors and close their shutters. What this would do, and this would do it in the virtual sense, is say, look, by taking the deliberate action of closing your shutters and locking your doors, which makes it hard for federal agents to confirm that you're doing illegal things, just by doing that itself is an illegal act. So this is maybe one of the creepiest and draconian intrusions of privacy that I've actually, I've ever heard of, that was even attempted to be passed into law. So if I were you, just as a kind of a privacy, liberty-loving American, I'd be worried.
The shit's chess, it ain't checkers.
What do you want us to do?
Say hell no, motherfuckers! But you can sleep when you're dead. Right now,